Hey, lovely. Good morning and welcome to the Camnet Breakfast Show, Wednesday edition, governance, policy, and politics. And I'm your host, Patrick Soko. I'll be joined by my co-host, Miriam Kaimba, and together we'll be with you to just give you nothing but information pertaining to various issues. We get started on the breakfast show as usual on a health note with a health corner. Keep it on Camnet TV.
Good morning. My name's Dr. Rafat Basit Masa. I'm coming from Medical Women's Association of Zambia, MWAZ, and I'm working in University Teaching Hospital as a general surgeon. We're going to have another exciting topic in burns that we've been talking in the last 2 days. So today we're going to talk about treatment. But before that, remember we talked about introduction, we talked about the symptoms, which is very important because we talked about what causes you to have burns, like fire, hot water, hot oil, porridge, acids, alkalines, and something very cold, and many more things that causes burns. So we looked at the types of burns, we looked at the depth of burns, how much burns can injure your body, up to what level, we looked at them. Now we're going to talk about the treatment of burns. So the different kind of burns that we looked at, we talked about superficial burns, the ones which doesn't cause much damage inside your skin. It just there's loss of skin and there's there's a lot of pain, there's redness, and slightly a bit of loss of function as well. So in those burns, first of all, ensure that when you get any great burns, make sure you go to your nearest health care. They are going to provide all the treatment for you. As we discussed earlier, that when you get burned, do not apply anything on your wounds. Just make sure that you go to the basin, wash your hands or the part that has been burned in normal room temperature water for about 20 minutes. From there, go to the nearest health care and they'll provide everything for you. So for the superficial burns, there is nothing much that needs to be done. We can give you some ointments to apply and teach you how these wounds can be looked after. And between 7 to 14 days, if you're accurately following our instructions or our instructions from the healthcare, from the nurses, from the doctors, then definitely you are going to heal very well between 7 to 14 days. Then for the burns which are second degree, that those burns which are deeper than the first degree, for example, they'll go slightly deeper than the skin, they'll cause blisters, they'll also be very, very painful, and they are going to make you feel devastated. You lose lots of fluids. Sometimes you also lose a bit of blood because as they are cleaning the wounds, you'll be bleeding from the wounds, and that will cause you to have a bit of anemia as well. So it's also a very, very devastating time for the patient, for the patient's family as well, because the patient's family has to be always by the bedside to ensure that they are looking after the patient. The children, it's very devastating to see children getting burned because children are the most beautiful people that we have in this world, and when they get hurt, we also get hurt. So ensure that we protect them as well. So when it comes to second degree burns, they actually require admission. They require good, adequate. We need to give them good amount of fluids, because remember that there's skin loss and they've lost some fluids. Then, if required, we give them blood. Then we actually give, if there's infection, we give them antibiotics. Then we make sure that we are cleaning the wounds very well. Then we ensure that once you get burnt, make sure that your if your hand gets burned or your leg gets burns, any part of your body that gets burns, please make sure that you're always mobilizing that part, because if you don't mobilize, you'll have more complications that we're going to talk about in the next episode for complications. But for now, just make sure that you move your limbs very well, exercise them so that you get back to your full function. We don't want a situation that you are actually burned and your wounds were very nicely cleaned, you were looked after, and at the end of the day you were not exercising your body, so that makes you become very stiff and you're unable to move that part of your body. So we want you to function the way you used to before. Of course, life is never the same after you get burned, because you'll end up getting scars, and it's very devastating with your family, then with your spouse, with a lot of complications coming. So that's why avoiding these burns is the best solution. So please, let's make sure that we avoid getting burned as much as we can, and especially when it comes to children. Our majority statistics in university teaching hospital, what we noticed is we receive a lot of children every single day. And majority of these children, they get burned because most of the mothers are working mothers. You find they've gone for work and they've remained with the maids, and they were not really adequately looked after. So you find the children, they end up touching pots, hot water, pots with porridge, or braziers. They go into braziers, or some of them even fall on the braziers and they get burned. Sometimes they get burned really bad that they don't recover. Others actually recover, others we lose them. So it's it's a very devastating situation where you find a beautiful child who has been playing around, has been living well, suddenly dies because he has been burned. So these things can be always avoided because of we can avoid them. Ensure that even if wherever we leave our children, please make sure that you emphasize them to look after your children very well. Let's look after our children very well, like they are our children. So we ensure that they don't go through these devastating situations. For a child, it's very difficult because they're going to grow. They are our future, so why should we let them get burnt? So please make sure that you protect our children, ourselves, from getting burned. Please keep watching Camnet, because we are going to bring you different types of topics, different types of discussion, wonderful discussions. You're going to learn so many things from us. We are going to teach you a lot of things. So please stay tuned with Camnet channel. Keep watching every day, and you will learn a lot of things with us. My name is Dr. Rafat Basit Masa. I'm coming from Medical Women's Association of Zambia, MWAZ, and I'm working in University Teaching Hospital. Please stay tuned and keep watching us with these exciting topics.
Well, there you have it. That is the Health Corner here on Camnet TV. Remember that this segment comes every day. We have the breakfast show, and make sure that you do tune in to just get updated pertaining to various health matters. Miriam Kaimba, is it a positive Wednesday?
It is. It is a very, 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 very positive Wednesday, and I've set out some things that I want to achieve today, and I hope that I'll be able to achieve them, given the fact that I've put the positivity vape toward this thing. Yeah.
Interesting. Well, as usual, we keep it positive here on the Camnet Breakfast Show, and we always remind you that positivity is always needed in the midst of troubles or challenges you may be encountering. So it is just important that you get that positive attitude, positive energy towards everything that you are doing. Remember that you are fortunate enough to have seen the light of the day, because others couldn't see the light of the day. That does not ever mean that you are so fortunate than others. It's just that the grace of God is upon you, and that you just have to make sure that you take advantage of this day and make sure that you try to achieve your best. As usual, I'll keep on repeating this, that you always have to live this day as if it is your last, because you don't know what may happen tomorrow. But it is important that you always keep it positive, keep pursuing those goals, keep achieving those targets for the day. So you need that energy to start the day and make sure that whatever you want to achieve, there are no obstacles. If life was that smooth sailing, it would have been boring, and there wouldn't have been life at all. So life is a composition of ups and downs. So it's about how we overcome those downs that determines our strength, our resilience to achieve whatever we want to achieve as a people.
Exactly. Moving forward now, let's go direct into our money market. So we have the United States dollar. They are buying at 19 quarter 05 ngwe and selling at 19 quarter 43 ngwe. We have the Great British Pound. They are buying at 24 quarter 18 ngwe and selling at 24 quarter 65 ngwe. We have the Euro. They are buying at 20 quarter 84 ngwe and selling at 21 quarter 25 ngwe. We have the South African Rand buying at 1 quarter 01 ngwe and selling at 1 quarter 03 ngwe. That's our foreign exchange for today, the 9th of August. You know, I almost said July,
Yeah.
I don't know why I want to go back. But anyway, August 2023. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to go forward. Yeah, unless you're afraid of what is.
No, I'm not afraid. I'm not. Anyone who has a positivity mindset towards something can never be afraid of anything. Anyway, just a reminder to our viewers that shortly we will be joined by a guest this morning where we'll be looking at current affairs, and is coming from the United Party for National Development. But before we usher our guest in studio this morning, let us take a look at some of the stories that made headlines yesterday in our main news, where opposition Socialist Party Dr. Fred Membe was arrested by the police on charges of libel and is currently in custody at Lusaka's Woodlands police station. Let's get a look at that story.
Clad in white, yellow, and red-labeled political regalia, opposition Socialist Party sympathizers in harmony trooped to Lusaka's Woodlands police station to show solidarity to their leader, Freddie Membe, this morning, Tuesday, 8th August 2023. Membe, who was initially summoned on Tuesday, 3rd August 2023, appeared before the police around 10:30 hours and was questioned for over 2 hours, later arrested for libel against Deputy Inspector General of Police for Operations Muna Meambango, contrary to Section 191 of the laws of Zambia. It is alleged that on Tuesday, 6th June 2023, the opposition socialist leader authored an article about a police officer who died out of depression after he was fired from the police service. While being dragged into the police cell, Dr. Membe was confident that he would be out soon.
Okay, gentlemen, we are being locked up. It's not the first time it has been done, and it won't be the last. But it has never taken anybody in here. And it won't take
Dr. Membe's lawyer, Simon Mwila, confirmed his arrest and expressed displeasure that acquiring a police bond for his client was being politicized.
In relation to an article that Comrade Fred Membe had published in relation to a police officer that had died due to depression after he was fired. So on the 6th day of June, that's when that article was published. So he has been charged in relation to that he defamed the Deputy IG, Mr. Myambango. And them the sureties, we have reviewed them the sureties. Of course, it's politics as usual, so we are waiting for further guidance from the police who have said they need to do their job, but we will have our client out.
Meanwhile, Party Deputy General Secretary Antonio Mwanza says the UPND administration should focus on arresting the country's economic situation, unlike opposition leaders.
Giving Comrade President Membe, this is a government of scared men. this is a government of people that have failed to provide economic solutions to the people. And they are using the state institutions to intimidate Zambians. That shall not work. We will be here to speak on behalf of the Zambian people. This government must concentrate on economic issues instead of arresting political opponents. This is intimidation, and this should not be accepted. Zambia remains a democratic state and will continue to speak for the people of Zambia.
Dr. Membe, who earlier expressed confidence of being released, will, however, spend the night in detention as police spokesperson Ray Hamonga confirms his arrest and police bond not being granted.
Police have further administered a warrant and caution statement Dr. Fred Membe on the alleged offense of communication of certain information contrary to Section 4, subsection 3 of the State Security Act, Chapter 111 of the laws of Zambia. Brief facts of the matter are that Dr. Membe, with others unknown person, did receive classified information that the chairpersonship of the Central Joint Operations Committee has changed, which information he posted on 21st July 2023 on the Facebook page called Fred Membe, an act that contravenes the State Security Act, Chapter 111 of the laws of Zambia.
For now, Dr. Membe can only hope a police bond is granted to him tomorrow, failure to which he continues to brave the code of Lusaka cells. Nelson Zulu for Camnet News, Lusaka.
There you have it. That's a political landscape in Zambia, and the new casualty is the Socialist Party leader Fred Membe, and that is a story pertaining to where he was accused of inciting police officers pertaining to issues bordering on allowances, and we just saw that he was arrested there by the police. However, moving on, in case you want to join us by giving us those comments on that story, you do leave us a message on our Facebook page as well as YouTube. In case you can also want to contribute, you can do so by calling the number. But however, we are joined in studio by our guest, our first guest of the day, and he is Reverend Brian Walia. He is the UPND Malole constituency member. Is going to help us discuss various current affairs that we are looking at this morning. Good morning, sir.
Morning, Vasoko. How are you, sir?
Thank you.
We are glad to have you on set this morning.
Oh, thank you, sir.
How is Malole constituency?
Malole, we're doing very fine.
Just highlight to us some of the developmental activities that are happening there, the activities.
As the UP, as the party in government.
I think the UPND is doing well in Malole constituency, and people have appreciated and accepted the European government, and at the same time, you know, the increase of the CDF. I think the people have seen massive development in our area.
But Malole is held by an opposition member of parliament, and is he in conformity with the vision of the party, or what would be your take on that?
I think we wish our area member of parliament will recover. He was involved in the road accident. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but looking at the things, and you know, the challenge that we have, I think in the let me say Malole constituency, is lack of people who are serious. They were serious with development, and that's our appeal to, I think, the civil servants, I think, to accept the change of government. You know, there are people who are still very loyal to the previous government, not knowing that we have changed the government. And if people are loyal to the previous government, it's very difficult to implement the manifesto of the UPND. But eventually, or slowly by slowly, people have accepted that they have to move on and move on with this new government of the UPND.
Interesting. Well, our dear viewers, you are watching the Camnet Breakfast Show with me, Patrick Soko, and Miriam Kaimba. And in the studio we have Mr. Brian Walia, who's helping us discuss current affairs. First of all, let's have a look at the UPND. Is it living up to the expectations of the people, given that people are complaining that there is a high cost of living, citing, for instance, the high prices of men? What do you have to say about that?
Mr. Soko, the president, is on top of things. And it's up to the people now to accept this government. It's on top of things, and the president, very soon, the price of the million will come down. Because I think, you know, there's the issue of fuel. Previously there was, up to now, there's the war between Russia and Ukraine. It has affected I think many countries, not just Zambia. You've seen that Zambia Zambia will import fuel. Zambia will import fuel. So those are the suppliers of the fuel. Zambia we don't have the we just depend, or we import fuel. So we depend on Russia and Ukraine for the supply of fuel. But that's why you saw our president and the South African president, they went to negotiate that they all come to an end. But our president is a visionary man, and very soon we're going to celebrate. Because you realize that the CDF, we just said there will be no free education, but it has implemented it. There are a lot of things that this government has done. Give us time. You're going to celebrate Ms. Soko and our sister.
Yeah, talking about the Constituency Development Fund, I don't know, maybe you can just speed us up on how it is working in Malole constituency, because we have received various complaints. I'll cite an example in Itezi constituency, where some beneficiaries are now withdrawing, cooperative money without the consent of other cooperative members. In Malole constituency, how are the people there appreciating the Constituency Development Fund? Have we seen more people coming on board to, form cooperative and in order, to sustain their lives? Are we seeing this change from the people?
The only challenge that I think we have in Malole constituency, I think, is the committee sitting on the same CDF. This we're saying, I think these are the people who have been loyal to the previous government, who feel that the previous government is their government. And it's, it's just an appeal all over Zambia. We have to accept that there's a change of government. And if you have been given a responsibility to look after the welfare, or to look after I think we should be some change of seriousness. I think there haven't been much seriousness among the committee who are sitting on the city. It's like they're frustrating the plans of the government. They're frustrating the plans of the president, because the president saw its importance, and that's why they include the CDF. But there are some people who are not loyal to UPND government, and they want to frustrate. They want to frustrate the UPND manifesto. They want to frustrate the plans of the UPND, and this is what we're saying, and we appeal to our brothers and sisters who have got the privilege to sit in the CDF committee. I think let's not be partisan. Let's try to find that we need to have priorities. For example, there are some areas in Malole constituency which don't have, mattresses in the health centers. Some schools have applied for the desks, but it hasn't been implemented. So these are enemies, as UPND Malole were considered. These are enemies of development. And if the civil servant want to be loyal to the previous government, I think they should not withdraw salaries. Because it's not fair. You're sitting you're withdrawing salaries every month, and you want to frustrate the good policy of this government. I think as UPND will not, allow it. And that's why you've seen they had to force our Secretary General to be going in constituents, because most of these CDF committee members are frustrating the good plans, the good policy of this government. Because imagine where like Malole constituency, up to today, why should our brothers and sisters, when they go to the clinic, they are not admitted because there are no mattresses? So those are enemies of our government. And they were discampaigning our party and not allow it.
But certain allegations that have come on board are that in terms of cooperative, getting funds for cooperative, most of the people that have benefited are those that are aligned to the
UPND.
No, this government is a clean government. This government is a very clean government. UPN is running a very clean government. It's not like the way it was in PF.
How was it?
The PF, if you, the contract were given basis, if you know somebody, if Mr. Soko knows somebody as the commander in PF, automatically you qualify for the for the contract for the CDF. But this government is running a very clean government. And I can say,
but
Mr.
our
Soko,
viewers, Reverend, been of the view when we watched some people here, they say we're not benefiting and they're selective.
The people who are sitting on the on this committee, those who are selective are the previous regime. But you apply today for the CDF. Even you have seen, Mr. Soko, that about 2,000 or is it 2,000 children who were sponsored. To do the trading skills at certain college or graduating, and this just come in this government. But previously, if you were a PF, automatically qualified to get a big contract.
You were saying, you are alleging that those who are sitting in the committee are coming from the former ruling administration and are trying to frustrate the vision of the current administration. Don't you think those are baseless allegations, given the fact that you guys are the ones who are in office right now?
Why are you not controlling?
Why are you not controlling, given the fact that you currently have the power?
We have the power, but the issue is, for example, you talk of Malolo constituency. Our MP, and we wish him quick recover. Our MP is PF. Our council chairperson is PF. We just have one councillor who's UPND. And those are the people who sit in the CDF committee. So it's very difficult for us, even those people are the ones who have been selective. And we are saying, as UPND, it's high time people adjust. It's high time people learn to move on. You gave PF 10 years. You saw what they did. Their money which was borrowed. And Mr. Soko, you saw the people you're using the money which we borrowed to give the cadres. That money wasn't that money wasn't in a circulation.
Do you have any proof that the money borrowed was given to the cadres?
This is a thing that we all know, because you saw the money.
I don't know.
You saw the clips, Mr. Solo, you are the journalist. You know what was happening. There was a money that was being thrown. Somebody was on the bed, thrown money quite all over, and jumping on the money. That money was removed from the that wasn't in circulation. So that money wasn't. And we are appealing to investment. I think to pull up themselves, because a lot of money was seen around. And that was destroying the economy. But our president is on top of things. I think is bring Zambia to where it's supposed to be. If UPN didn't come in power, today is Kwacha. There would have been nothing to talk about Kwacha today, because there was misuse of funds. There was praying of money. You saw how that money was, it is in court. The money which was recovered somewhere, and that money was to recover the boxes of money. That's a sign that there was carelessness of the misuse of money. But our government, your government, is on top of the things.
But is this government going to continue to blame the PF over its own misfortunes? Because you are now in office and people expect to see those tangible results. As UPND members, are you going to continue to blame? Because Zambians responded to your call you were making to say vote for UPND so that they can change or transform this country. And they responded. They responded in numbers. Mm-hmm. But again, after they give you that mantle, are you going to continuously attribute the failures to the previous administration?
Mr. Soko, we are not blaming. We are giving a reference. Mm-hmm. When we give a reference, we're saying, these guys, this is what they did. We're not blaming them. They did their loans, and we are collecting those loans. Mr. Soko, if the money like Eurobond, if there was a serious audit, if there was a serious audit, you find that these people, this time we're talking about, they would have been behind bars. But the kindness of our president, Eurobond, how was it used? Suppose that Eurobond was invested in productive things, Zambia would have been somewhere. So what I was saying, we were giving a reference. If they had used that money properly, Zambia would have been a better nation. But they borrowed to give the cadres. They borrowed to do the dining, to do, to go to misuse the money. If that money was borrowed to invest in proper things, Zambia today would have been hidden. It would have been a garden.
But if you say that they borrowed the money to give the cadres, won't your statement be misplaced? Because we did see infrastructure being, put up during the former.
Those infrastructure you're talking about are substandard infrastructures. Look at the roads we're talking about. Do they have do they have the lifespan? Look at the ring road. Why are they working on the ring road if it was a proper done? Where were the engineers? Why today you go right now, you go to ring road, why is it being worked on if it was done properly? These are some things, these are substandard works. It is infrastructure, but it is substandard works. We need, when you make a road, it has to take, there must be a lifespan. When, Mr. Soko, you're the journalist, and when was ring road done?
4 years ago.
4 years ago. Mm-hmm. Tell me, why is it being done? Why are they doing the ring road? There were engineers, qualified engineers. How much was spent? And there was the misuse of funds. We don't need substantive work. When you do something, for example, you do something. Look at the loads. Let me just do a comparison. Look at some loads which were done. I think by the time when in Mindolo, those loads in Kitwe, those have got drainages. Some roads like maybe in Kamala South, they don't have drainage. And that's why you saw, even during the maybe rain season, those floods, because there was no proper planning. There was no proper consultation. The engineers, the department was supposed to be consulted. So you cannot talk about the roads which were, substandard and say those are roads which, those are infrastructure which were done. There are also some, we appreciate some of the works which have been done by the previous regime, but we're talking about if the money they borrowed was invested, for example, maybe farming broke. If we have got enough means, we can't be talking about the shortage of minimum or the high price of minimum. If they have invested, that's why we say the UPND, and we're asking all the civil servants, read the manifesto of the UPND, because if you're not going to read the manifesto of the UPND, automatically be misplaced as a civil servant. We are appealing to a civil servant, read the manifesto of the UPND, because the UPND wants Mr. Soko to feel the touch of the CDF.
Is the UPND investing in real industrialization, given that the UPND is also borrowing, and it has also borrowed quite a lot so far?
No, they haven't borrowed that much.
To a tune of about 6 billion.
They haven't borrowed much. You have seen
that is based on the figures we have.
If you see, look at the debt restructuring. Mm-hmm. Okay, when these guys borrowed the money, they were just borrowing, without considering that there's time for them to pay back. So we came in power at the time when it was due to pay that money. So the president had to go and negotiate. He's a negotiator. Okay, he knows how to do things. So he negotiated so that we can be allowed, because we need money. to learn the government. But the problem which is there is that people want to frustrate the policy, the plans of the UPND. And we're saying, please don't be misplaced. Read the manifesto of the UPND. At the same time, let's work. You remember what the president said at the Shogland? He wanted Mr. Soko to have a farm, okay? As you are working, you have to be productive. Don't just say, okay, you are at the Camnet. Look for the farm that you can have enough, you can have a little field of maize.
We are not even providing
that's
access
productive.
to land, where you access to land is
Malode constituency is ready for you. Mr. So we are open our area. Anyone, and this is the thing, and very soon we want to go, we're negotiating with our parliament chief Chitimukulu, that any civil servant in Malode constituency will be given a piece of land so that you become productive. You become, you have a piece of, where you can grow maize, you can grow cassava. Malode constituency is the best land in Zambia. It's the best land because, civil servants, they've got fields. They've got fields, and I think they're enjoying being found in the area. One thing about our government, Mr. Doka, I want to give an example of Kafue Boys. Kafue Boys is one of the schools in Zambia where every teacher wants to go there because that school is very productive. They've got cows, they've got farms. And this is the vision that we have for Malode constituency. So very soon, we will write to the Ministry of Education, if possible, all the civil servants and the Ministry of Health, the Ministry of Education, and all government institutions, and they will have access to the piece of land in our area.
Earlier on in your preamble, you did mention that the former administration never invested much in agriculture, hence we did not see a reduction. The price of mini meal kept on going up. Now this is 2 years down the line in power. As the UPND, we are seeing the situation is getting worse. A bag of mini meal is fetching between 220 to 300, somewhere there. What is it that you're doing different to ensure that this bag of mini meal comes down? Because we did see when you were campaigning, you did promise the people of Zambia that a 25 kg bag of mini meal will be sold at a price of 50 kwacha.
No, that's what we're saying. We are saying
Yes.
for fuel, you need everything, movement of maize from point A to point B need fuel. There's war in Iraq. PF told you there's is because of war. You believe them. They told you of climate change. You believe them. This is what we are saying. This government is on top of things. If we borrow, we invest in agriculture, we've got enough maize. We've got enough maize, automatically the price of menu will go down. But the problem is we borrowed for luxury. We borrowed to jump around. Okay? They borrowed to jump around. If this government is borrowing to invest, so that at the end of the day, we have a bag of meal will be sold even 50 watts. Our president haven't moved from that weight.
And
Thank
I
you very
mean it.
much.
What are some of your concluding remarks? And I mean it. As we get to
We want to appeal to the people of Malode constituency, especially our civil servants. Please, those who are sitting on the CDF, please don't be partisan. This money is money for all Zambians. Whether PF, whether UPND, whether Socialist Party, let people accept this money. Do not delay the development in our area. We want to have the mattresses in those schools. We want mattresses in those hospitals. We want to have the desks in those schools. And the UPND Malode, I think, will not take lightly those who want to frustrate the goodwill of this government.
Thank you so much indeed. This is where we come to the end of our first interview, but shortly we'll be joined by another guest. This was Reverend Brian Walia, the UPND Malole constituency member, who was helping us discuss various issues of what is pertaining in Malole constituency as well as other current affairs. But right about now, let's get to look at a story where Small-Scale Farmers for Development Agency has urged government to adopt consistent policy on the Farmer Input Support Program, FISIP.
Interest rates almost running as with CEC or even less. And with time, we want that to be more than the FISIP arrangement.
Minister of Agriculture Ruben Piri has since abandoned this decision to phase out the Farmer Input Support Program, FISIP, following mixed reactions from members of the public. In welcoming the decision, the Small-Scale Farmers for Development Agency, SAFAD, has urged government to avoid shifting posts on the matter, given the importance of the program to small-scale farmers. SAFAD Director Boyd Mogwe says despite challenges of FISIP, the program should be maintained and only improved as mentioned in government's latest decision.
We're not receiving others, the drainment in the distribution process, which of course made government to rethink and sort of phasing out. But this time around, I think we cannot recommend this because we're going towards the rain season and farmers are expecting to receive fertilizer. Now, if we start discussing and planning how to phase out this program, it will affect our efforts, it will affect our plans to help farmers effectively.
Mr. Mowe has since urged government to avoid contradicting statements on FISIP as it has potential to destabilize farmers as the rain season approaches.
When the minister said they're not going to phase out the program, they're not going to phase out, but they're going to improve it. You see, so that is mixed statement and suggestions that are always put on the public domain. It's quite confusing.
Meanwhile, Mr. Mowe has urged government to find a concrete mechanism to ensure that the price of fertilizer does not continue to escalate. Attempts due to identified inefficiencies have been dragging with the implementation of the e-voucher, a more targeted approach of the program not completely rolled out in the country. In the 2023-24 season, government will therefore spend 7.1 billion kwacha with the e-voucher system to cost 1.5 billion kwacha, whereas the direct input supply will cost 5.6 billion kwacha. For Camnet News, Afias Kaptura, Lusaka.
The Constituency Development Fund, CDF, an initiative devised to uplift the standards of various communities countrywide, has been the talk that never misses. Submissions made by stakeholders from all walks of life increased from 25.7 million kwacha to 28.3 million kwacha to save the plight of communities from the acquisition of empowerment fund programs such as grants, loans, among others. However, reports have emerged that some beneficiaries in part of the country are misusing the resources to the disadvantage of others. These reports have unsettled Local Government and Rural Development Permanent Secretary in charge of technical services, Nicholas Piri, who says mechanisms to monitor the utilization of the funds are being put in place. Mr. Piri says the system will be ready in 6 months and will expose the inefficiencies and successes of the CDF application countrywide.
Tightening up our CDF monitoring dashboard. This dashboard is going to, at a click of a button, it should be able to tell us on how much has been dispersed countrywide, how much has been used, and also tracking the groups, how they are utilizing the CDF. And this process now is being tested, and we are hoping that in the next 6 months or so, the whole dashboard will be functional, and then we'll be able to track each group per constituency, per district, per ward resources. In the due course, we are going to give a comprehensive report of where this grant has worked successfully and where it has been met with challenges, and of course the way forward in terms of tying the loopholes on the leakages of the grants to the groups.
The Permanent Secretary has also watered down sentiments by stakeholders to have a special auditing mechanism for the Constituency Development Fund, CDF, saying the audit for CDF is being undertaken by the Auditor General's Office and will soon be complete.
The CDF is a public fund and it is subject to all the regulatory framework and auditing mechanisms that public fund is subject to. And so by saying that, the Auditor General through Ministry of Finance do audit local authorities, and obviously the utilization of the CDF is part of the funds, that it's part of the things that they do to just check on how it is being used, whether it is used in line with the provisions of the laws that regulate public expenditure.
Nelson Zulu for Camnet News, Lusaka.
Thank you so much for still staying tuned to the Camnet TV Breakfast Show. We now transition into our second interview where we're looking at the use of artificial intelligence in Africa. And in studio, we're joined by Madam Sarah Njamu, who is the CEO of Campo Connect Education. Good morning.
Good morning.
We are glad to have you on set.
I am excited to be here.
Just tell us a bit about your organization. What is it all about?
So Campo Connect Education is an IT consulting company as well as a digital transformation company that focuses on artificial intelligence solutions. So we distribute artificial intelligence chatbots, we distribute robotic process automation, and we also custom develop learning management systems. And on top of that, we are an organization that believe that the smart technologies without people development will not give us the efficiencies that we're looking for. So we are very big on people development as well. So when we get into organizations, we bring these intelligent solutions, but at the same time we also equip people with the skills of the future that are needed to be able to implement these solutions and get the efficiencies that these solutions bring.
You're one of the women that are driving digital transformation in Africa and, contributing to the IT industry. How has it been? Because I know a lot of women wouldn't have, so much interest in terms of IT.
Yes, so woman representation remains a big challenge in this industry. For me, it's something that I enjoy doing. I've been doing it for the past 15 years. And the idea is really to just impact by bringing these solutions that bring efficiencies to everything that people do on a daily basis. So for me, I've never looked at it from the perspective that I'm a woman. I see it as we are an organization that is bringing value to society and we are impacting how things are done using technology.
Yeah, talking about adding value to society, what are some of the milestone projects or activities you have undertaken as an organization to contribute to the IT agenda overall in Africa or probably in areas of your operation?
Yeah, so like I said, we develop custom developed learning management systems. We've been able to implement and digitize, the training systems for our clients. We've also been able to implement so basically it works exactly like a human being does. So, I think of a client of ours who is based in South Africa, and this client of ours works throughout Africa into Europe and Asia. They're a financial institution. They were looking at just increasing efficiency within their organization. So they approached us to help them with the implementation of software robots. So we implemented a platform that then is able to do exactly what a human being would do in terms of extracting data, processing data, and presenting data. We've had this company for 3 years now, and we've brought so much efficiency for them using software robots.
Now, interesting. First of all, let's have a look at the future of artificial intelligence in Africa. What does the future look like, and how should we prepare as a people?
So the future is very exciting, I must say, and it's for that reason that we've put together an AI conference so that we can actually start engaging, because AI is here, and people need to tap into the efficiency that AI brings, and AI is not going to stop. So people need to actually embrace AI, and we need to reskill the people so people can actually be able to leverage the use of AI, because AI is actually driving business, and it's going to be driving business and organizations going in the future.
No. Let's talk about the real threats and opportunities that have emerged following the coming of the AI.
Yes, so of course, like I said, AI brings efficiency, so it's able to do things faster than a human being can do, because you train it to do specific activities, but it's also able to reduce the errors that come with human engagement. AI is able to serve customers 24/7, instead of people really sitting on the phone to talk to an agent to probably solve a problem for them. Maybe if you're having issues with your telecom bill, for example, you can actually be able to chat to an AI chatbot that's going to give you all the information that a human being on the other side of the phone would be able to do, and thereby, cutting time, and you can engage with this particular platform 24/7, which improves the customer experience.
Well, our dear viewers, you are watching the Camnet Breakfast Show, and we are undertaking our second interview of the day. And in conversation, we have Sala Luihele Njamu, who is the Group CEO for Campu Connect Education. And interesting enough, we're talking about artificial intelligence. However, people that would have concerns, Madam, to say, why should we embrace AI when it's going to take over our jobs?
That's a very good question, and it's a very important conversation that we should be engaging in. So yes, AI will take away certain jobs, but it will also create certain jobs. So the conversation is, what should people be doing to prepare themselves for this new landscape? So people need to be reskilling themselves so that they remain relevant, and they've got the skill sets that are needed to be able to operate within the AI environment that is going to be driving business.
Interesting. Yeah, but it's quite an interesting.
We hope that maybe we can have a conference or something so that people will be able to embrace this. It's quite an interesting thing. Basically, I'm talking for when you talk about artificial intelligence and a lot of things that involves IT. Most of the times you'll find young people always spend most of their time on social media, talking about Facebook and stuff like that, but without embracing the full, opportunities that come with IT. Yeah.
Now, the other argument, Miriam, would be that with the coming of AI, you see, this is a mining firm. Now, this artificial intelligence comes and says, no. In fact, these excavators, these machines can actually be computed to run on their own. So it may also mean, for example, the person driving that machine loses the job, and those miners used to manually extract water lose their job, and because we put something there, then just one person is going to control this. So now, reskilling, you mentioned an important aspect. Reskilling and people positioning themselves for that environment. I'm looking at it to say, how can we do that to make sure that to the larger extent, the larger part of the population still remains relevant in the wake of AI.
And just adding on, how can people embrace this, without having the fear that we, even as the fact as we embrace the artificial intelligence, we are not afraid that we might lose our job.
Yeah. So I think the most important thing is for people to learn. Okay, education has been democratized because of the internet. So there's actually so much information online that you can read about, around AI. But most importantly for us, we've seen that there's a gap in terms of people understanding what AI is and embracing AI, and also just the challenges that surround it. We have actually put together a global summit that's going to be happening in Livingstone from the 13th of September to the 15th of September. And this is a platform where we have actually brought global leaders as well as local thought leaders to be able to engage. And that's the idea. We want Africans to be able to engage around these things, but also to be driving the agenda. So instead of people living in fear to say AI is going to take away our jobs, we should be actually be saying, how do we leverage AI, and how ensure that the challenges that come with AI are also addressed. And hence this platform that we've created, where we're running a global conference, presents exactly the right platform where people can engage, and hopefully policymakers can be there, and people can also share their experiences with AI.
Because here, the only person I'm seeing excited should be our guy upstairs, who is the IT specialist here, who says, yeah, we leverage on developing these softwares, who develop these systems. In fact, instead of, for example, having a person to even manage the cameras, who do the AI arrangement, I'll manage everything myself. And that tends to bring it up. But I think you mentioned an important aspect of leveraging on how we can live as a people in the midst of artificial intelligence. We've seen countries that are highly advanced in that. Let's say China, Europe, and in Africa, more like countries like South Africa. Now, is there an ideology which you have also identified as, since you deal with that education, where you have identified to say, but this is how we can best coexist with AI?
Yeah, so in terms of coexisting with AI, it's already happening. Like I told you, we distribute software robots that do what many accountants would do, but they'll do different, different processes in a business. So instead of having, a human being going into the bank account to extract data and then put it on the spreadsheet to be processed, you train an AI to do that. It will go in as a software, open the bank account, extract the specific data that you've asked it to extract, and then it will process for you. So you are working alongside, an AI taking you a week to do your clubs as an extra, to learn to code robots and to learn to work with robots. So yes, there are organizations like ourselves and many other organizations that are actually skilling the young people within the education space.
Your closing remarks.
So my close, and we've got people from all over the world coming to share their knowledge. We've got Zambian thought leaders as well, who'll be sharing their knowledge. And for me, this is about driving a purpose, because as Africans, we need to be leading this conversation. We cannot sit back and wait for, people from the West to actually drive this agenda, and then we are playing a catch-up game. Not in this space. We need to embrace AI and put the frameworks that are needed to ensure there is regulation, but continue to leverage on it and continue to push the agenda. So what I'm saying is let as many people as possible come. The Zambians should come to this conference, and this conference is not just for technical people. You talked about your technical guy would be excited upstairs. This is across every organization unit, because if you are a marketing person or an HR person, operations, you are dealing with AI on a daily basis. If you use a cell phone, if you're on social media, you are interacting with AI on a daily basis. So we are saying, let this conversation be for everybody. It's not necessarily for technical people. And yeah, we are inviting everybody to come and join us, drive this conversation.
Thank you so much. That was the Compo Connect Education Chief Executive Officer, Sarah Njamu, who is helping us discuss the use of artificial intelligence in Africa. But right about now, we recall the story that we earlier played of Socialist Party President Dr. Fred Membe, who was arrested yesterday by the police.
Clad in white, yellow, and red-labeled political regalia, opposition Socialist Party sympathizers in Harmony trooped to Lusaka's Woodlands police station to show solidarity to their leader, Freddie Membe, this morning, Tuesday, 8th August 2023. Membe, who was initially summoned on Tuesday, 3rd August 2023, appeared before the police around 10:30 hours and was questioned for over 2 hours, later arrested for libel against Deputy Inspector General of Police for Operations Muna Muyambango, contrary to Section 191 of the laws of Zambia. It is alleged that on Tuesday, 6th June 2023, the opposition socialist leader authored an article about a police officer who died out of depression after he was fired from the police service. While being dragged into the police cell, Dr. Membe was confident that he would be out soon.
Okay, gentlemen, we are being locked up. It's not the first time it has been done, and it won't be the last. But it has never taken anybody in here. And it won't take
Dr. Membe's lawyer, Simon Mwila, confirmed his arrest and expressed displeasure that acquiring a police bond for his client was being politicized.
In relation to an article that Comrade Fred Membe had published in relation to a police officer that had died due to depression after he was fired. So on the 6th day of June, that's when that article was published. So he has been charged in relation to that he defamed the Deputy IG, Mr. Muyambango. And them the sureties, we have reviewed them the sureties. Of course, it's politics as usual, so we are waiting for further guidance from the police who have said they need to do their job, but we will have our client out.
Meanwhile, Party Deputy General Secretary Antonio Mwanza says the UPND administration should focus on arresting the country's economic situation, unlike opposition leaders.
Giving Comrade President Membe, this is a government of scared men. This is a government of people that have failed to provide economic solutions to the people. And they are using the state institutions to intimidate Zambians. That shall not work. We will be here to speak on behalf of the Zambian people. This government must concentrate on economic issues instead of arresting political opponents. This is intimidation, and this should not be accepted. Zambia remains a democratic state and will continue to speak for the people of Zambia.
Dr. Membe, who earlier expressed confidence of being released, will, however, spend a night in detention as police spokesperson Ray Hamonga confirmed his arrest and police bond not being granted.
Police have further administered a warn and caution statement to Dr. Fred Membe on the alleged offense of communication of certain information contrary to Section 4, subsection 3 of the State Security Act, Chapter 111 of the laws of Zambia. Brief facts of the matter are that Dr. Membe, with others unknown person, did receive classified information that the chairpersonship of the Central Joint Operations Committee has changed, which information he posted on 21st July 2023 on the Facebook page called Fred Membe, an act that contravenes the State Security Act, Chapter 111 of the laws of Zambia.
For now, Dr. Membe can only hope a police bond is granted to him tomorrow, failure to which he continues to brave the code of Lusaka cells. Nelson Zulu for Camnet News, Lusaka.
There you have it. That's an interesting story in the political fraternity. There we saw the Socialist Party leader Fred Membe being arrested by the police. This is a story bordering on police matters, and we saw the Inspector General of Police issuing a statement pertaining to that. Miriam Kaimba, this is where we have to excuse the screen, unfortunately.
Exactly. I love that that term that you use. We have to excuse the screen. But anyway, this is where we come to the end of our breakfast show this morning. We thank you, our viewers, for staying tuned till the end of our program this morning. For now, it's bye-bye and stay blessed.
Thank you.